I took over a year to study social media. Now let's get into being successful on YouTube, which has really excited me. I think this excitement started last year, but again, juggling everything has been interesting. So there's 6 key lessons that I've learned from my year-long research on YouTube. The first one is, and I'm sure some of you have heard it before, but there are still people that are new to the YouTube platform that come every single day. So if you're new, then you're learning something. But for those who've been on the platform, trust me and believe that consistency is still key. You have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, then the algorithm will kind of like consider you, not worthy of pushing your posts, your uploads out. So the more you're consistent you are, it's like someone who you're meeting. You meet someone today or tomorrow, and you don't hear from them for a month. They become unreliable in your mind, correct? But if you're constantly hearing from that person every day, good morning, good evening, how did your day go in the middle of the day, or whatever the case may be, at least once a day, that person is going to start to develop a dependency to hear from you. And I think the algorithm works in a very similar way. So consistency is very much still key. Number 2, know your audience. You have to pay attention to the comments under your video. If you're not getting comments yet, also make sure that you're encouraging comments. You're encouraging engagement. Once you start getting engagement, you want to make sure that you pay attention to what people are asking, what people are talking about, and make sure that you engage with them. Third is the algorithm. Now, the algorithm changes. Everything is not always going to be the same this year, this month. One of the things that I learned from my research is that if there's something new that a platform is pushing, like the podcasts, the shorts, you always want to look into it. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do it. It really does depend on whether or not it's beneficial to you. But if the platform is pushing it, at least it's something that you should know, you should look into to see how it can benefit you. Because in the long run, if you utilize on anything that's new, you're going to see more engagement or at least more push from the platform's algorithm. Again, I mentioned being consistent because being consistent encourages the algorithm to rely on you. And so, of course, your uploads will be recommended more frequently to other audiences. The longer the content, I believe, the better also, because that increases your watch time. So that's another thing that I learned. You really want to make sure that you are invested in good content. You don't have to be too fancy. These days, I'm noticing a lot of people are recording videos and just uploading them. They're not putting too much into the thumbnails. They're not putting too much into the edits. I don't think that a person should stop if that's what they're already doing, because your personality is your personality, and you just want to do what you enjoy, okay? But I just want people who have found it difficult to do the extra edits and the creative thumbnails, that it's seeming like we're on I don't want to even call it a trend, but I'm noticing that people are, at least the watchers, the viewers, are more open to unedited content. So try it out at least. Then we have number 4, content quality versus quantity. You want to understand this because consistency is important, but you don't want to just throw anything out there. You always have to ask yourself, how is this valuable to the viewer? Why would somebody want to watch this? If I was a viewer, would I want to watch this? Those are some of the questions you should ask yourself. So quality versus quantity. Consistency will encourage you to want to, continuously put out some content. You don't want to be, posting every day for 1 week and then the next week no one hears from you. So hopefully you can come up with something. You don't have to announce it because you want to allow room for flexibility when needed, but come up with something written where you try to post, consistently whether it's 2 or 3 times a week, once a week, every day, 3 times a day, whatever it is, try to be consistent. So that applies to your quantity, but you also want to make sure that the quality is there. And like I said, the editing doesn't have to take precedence. It's just the information. Again, is it quality information? Who are you trying to get this information to? And why would they want to continue to listen throughout your whole video? Make sure you're addressing those things. Okay, number 5 is SEO. I'm going to go over the basics of SEO because this is one of the things that's huge. And a lot of people skip over this, trying to hurry up and rush and just put out content. But if your content isn't searchable, you're making it a lot harder for yourself. It's a harder hill to climb. It's a harder, taller mountain to climb, however you want to say it. Learn about SEO. I'm going to teach you some of the basics. First of all, SEO is search engine optimization. Okay? Probably heard it before. No one even broke that down for you, but they're keywords. Okay? So it's really good to understand the topics that you are covering. What are some of the words people would use to search for your video, considering what you're talking about in your video? What would somebody search for? Okay, so for example, if there was something going on that came up during the presidential election, what do you think a person would be searching for when they're typing it in Google or YouTube? Election speech today or something like that. So I already mentioned one of the tools is the YouTube search bar. You could literally type in certain words that you're already saying in your video to see what pops up. If my video is about a certain kind of candy, I would type in the name of the candy first and you'll see other things added onto that search. It could be, let's say the name of the candy is Mr. Beast chocolate. And then you'll see, if I type in Mr. Beast chocolate, you'll see something like Mr. Beast chocolate store. And then you'll see that people are looking for the chocolate store. You get what I'm saying? So the YouTube search bar itself is definitely an option, one of the tools to search for what are people looking for. There's also TubeBuddy, vidIQ. Those are popular on the YouTube platform as well. Those two companies create their own videos. They have their own channels on YouTube, even though they are separate from YouTube. They both also, I've used them both. I should do a video one day on the comparison, but I'll just wait. If somebody asks for me to do that, I'll look into it. But they have these extensions that you can add to your Chrome search bar, and then you can link them to your YouTube channel, and that way it'll read your searches, your videos. It'll give you analytics, guides. They have AI connected to their platform, so you can even use them as an assistant. Lots of good information there, but let me not digress. There's also a third option for keywords, which is a Google Keyword Planner. So 3 tips in terms of finding what keywords will work for you. You do want to make sure that you target or use keywords that have low competition. Low competition and high search volume is to make sure that you use those keywords. Of course, not all of them. I like to stick with a good maybe 3 to 5 keywords in my description, by the way. That's another tip. But in your title, try to make sure that you're strategically using at least one of the keywords. So you're pretty much making sure that you're optimizing your title, okay? And in your title, you want to try your best to use titles that sound like a search, how to, kind of like the who, what, where, why kind of questions, okay? But the how-tos are really key. And if it doesn't fall into that realm where you feel like your title can work, make sure it just sounds like it's exciting. Something like secrets of, or 5 tips for, that type of thing. Okay, and then another tip for SEO optimization is your description. Don't leave your description blank, please, okay? Do not leave your description blank. You have plenty of room in your description to add more clickable keywords, searchable keywords, and you want to try to have a good 200 word description. I myself that's one of the ones I recently learned, so I haven't even had a chance to implement it. That's how much I am trying to turn over the new information that I learned into the videos. You guys might be able to act on some of these things before I get a chance to, but I recently learned you want to have at least 200 words in your description, and make sure it's full of keywords, really high value SEO optimized keywords. Your keywords or your description should also have links to your other social media platforms, and some type of call to action, even if it's just to say to subscribe to my channel. Okay, another SEO optimization tip is you're thinking about your thumbnail. Now, I know I'm seeing lately that a lot of people are gravitating away from even worrying about creative thumbnails. So I feel like it's worth trying a variety of things. No thumbnail, very detailed, mind-blowing, bright, eye-catching thumbnail, or something somewhere in the middle where you're not trying too hard, but you might just use bold lettering to grab someone's attention, or a excited facial expression to catch someone's attention. And try different things. When you're starting out, you're giving yourself room to figure out what your audience wants, so it's okay. Oh yes, another tip is captions. I am trying to have captions in every single one of my videos. Those captions add another layer of keyword optimization. Just make sure you look through the captions, especially if they're auto-generated, to make sure there aren't any words that were misunderstood or misspelled. Another tip is making sure you get your watch time. To my understanding, as of now, videos should be at least 8 minutes for ads. Now, in the beginning, you're most likely not going to have to worry about ads because you're not going to get paid. You're still building your content. So in the beginning, I wouldn't worry too much. I know there are pros and cons. I'm going to explain that a little bit about how long the video is. I feel like in the beginning, people have no clue who you are. And so you don't have to worry too much about an 8-minute video. But at the same time, I've learned that what if your video starts taking off? You can go back and add ads to your videos if that's important to you. And you're going to probably wish then that the video was at least 8 minutes. I know there's a lot more to it, but we're going to try to stick to the basics. You can look into whether or not those things matter to you. Plus, you don't want to force it. That's another thing. So, like I said, there's pros and cons. There's no wrong or right, so don't stress over it. You can still have ads in a shorter video. There's not an opportunity to place additional ads. And in the beginning, you just want to focus on feeling balanced, not overwhelming yourself. And there's a lot you can say in 5 minutes. You don't, like I said, you don't have to force it. So within the first 10 seconds though, that's called hook time. That's another tip that I learned, hook time. Within the first 10 seconds, and lately it's been within the first 3 seconds. You want to say something to grab a person's attention. Do something, say something. That's why in some videos you see some people are like really excited and joyful right in the beginning. It makes you want to stop and see why they're so happy. Or you might see someone jump into the screen or something like that, or jump toward the screen. Little things like that, stop scrollers from scrolling to see what's going on. So you can hook someone by actions or something that you say. 2 more things I want to add is make sure you use your playlists. Create a playlist for your videos. You don't have to go crazy. Once again, in the beginning, you just want to make sure that even if the videos that you're creating are just for a playlist that says daily uploads, you just want to make sure that you create the playlist, because it's an opportunity for someone who finds one of your videos to just hit the playlist and let them keep playing through. Say you have a good 10 videos in a playlist. If they play that, you're going to get constant watch time on your own channel. So that's another benefit. You want to make sure you do that. And then using the community tab, which I also have to be reminded, and I'm adding that to my reminder list to use the community tab. In between videos, it's a great way to just talk to people, engage with people. And I think part of the reason why I haven't done that too much yet is because I'm still managing life, work, and everything else. And so when you're more consistent, I think that's where that starts to fall in more consistently, using that community tab. But it's a really good tool. And I even forget it's there sometimes. So that's something we're all going to do together. And by the way, again, I am T, a wellness clinician, and overall, I'm just a woman who is trying to balance it all in this busy world. I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I do still work a 9 to 5, which is my bread and butter. So the entrepreneurial stuff is it's more like a side hustle. And it hasn't always been that way, but life comes with ups and downs, and I can always get into that more if I run into people along the way who have questions to ask. I'll definitely open up more about all the ups and downs in my life. My life hasn't been perfect at all. Been a lot of stuff I've gone through, but I just want to make sure that I do my part in this wonderful world, because I know that even though I have a lot of stuff that I've been through, there's always someone that's gone through way more and could definitely hear from someone who is trying to help, or hopefully someone that relates to some of the things. And hopefully I'll start hearing back from people as well that relate to some of the things that I'm going through, that can offer up ideas and suggestions. I do believe that we're all learning from each other. So, all right, stay tuned for part 2, how to be successful on YouTube this year. It's been really hard to focus on any one thing. Sometimes I just come home and I need rest. I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that. So anyway, I'm taking this time to finally force myself, even if that means that I put on my robe, do the things I need to do while I'm recording. Like right now I have my laptop. I'm working on stuff, but I just finally told myself if I have to just simultaneously take a minute to record when I have an idea that I want to share, at least it's getting done. I can't stand the fact that I have so many. Let me show you guys some of the stuff that I have. So many folders of information, papers, printouts, so many things. This right here has different sections in it of information. And then I have my manila folders of information. I have a lot to share. Really, really good tips in terms of being successful. And I'm seeing people be successful at it. I don't know if I'm going to get to the point where I want to try to apply myself full time. I'm not even focusing so much on that. I'm just kind of like enjoying the moments right now. And so, like I said, I have family that are successful on social media. And so I definitely have tips even from them that I want to share. So anyway, like I said, I can yap. So let me focus. And I have my notes here to help me stay focused. Because I see a lot of people talking about it's easy to do well on YouTube. It really just depends, because it is still really hard for anybody, and I've been there, to have to work a 9 to 5 when you already have bills, and especially if you already have children, you have responsibilities. And then when you finally come home, depending on the job you have, and a lot of these jobs these days are very taxing mentally. Even if you're mentally taxed, it turns over into the physical. And so just imagine if you have a job that is physical as well. It's really hard to try to come home. You still have to eat. And then commit yourself to working again. I know a lot of people try to make it fun, but at the end of the day, it's still work. It's still a responsibility. You still want to make sure that you're adding value when you press that record button. So it's really not an easy thing to do. And that's why I already told myself, and I tell other people, to just be careful and be mindful of that transitional phase, because if you already have responsibilities, you have to be responsible when you take on something else.